Hey everyone, welcome to this week's Royal Report. For those of you that don't recognize either my voice or my audio setup here with the music in the background, I am Lone Soldier of the Arcani clan. I'll be doing this week's Royal Report, and here we go. So essentially what the Royal Report is, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's just a weekly recap of the week's events and news and developments in the Empire Total War forum and portal on GameReplays.org. Now, the big thing this week was adding content to each of the sections that some of you may be familiar with and some of you may not be. Most notably the strategy guides and the game casts, and just general discussion in the forums. Now, a lot of people that come to Game Replays come for just that, replays, but there's a lot of stuff here that a lot of you may not be familiar with, so I'll just be kind of giving everybody a brief overview of some of the content that we seek to provide. A couple of the big categories that we provide content are through the use of strategy guides, game casts, and just general forum discussion, and I'll be going through this week's updates in each of those three categories. So, in the strategy guides this week, we had some discussion about a falling line strategy, how to create a balanced army, and just general introduction to the use of cavalry. Now, each of these in and of themselves aren't an exhaustive and thorough analysis of the subject matter that they seek to deal with, but it serves as a starting point to start, getting some discussions going and getting all of you guys involved in discussions. And the big thing about it is, when you're reading through these, if you have very little experience with Total War games, they're really a treasure chest of information. They get you thinking in the right way, and they get you approaching Total War from the right direction. Because what happens a lot of times when you have guys coming to Total War that aren't too experienced with it, it's a really different kind of game. It's not your run-of-the-mill strategy game. The way the units move and the way that everybody interacts, it's quite a bit different from games like Company of Heroes and the traditional StarCraft type RTS games. Now, obviously, we're going to have a mixture of some people that are more familiar with Total War and some guys that are a little bit newer to the scene. And the guides and the tips of the week and all of these forum discussions that I mentioned, they're tailored for everyone. If you are a more experienced Total War player, you may take some of the advice with a grain of salt, and you may take part in the discussions and offer another point of view. If you're a newer player, you may take some of the guides as doctrine, and you may go out there and just try to recreate them as accurately as you can. And there's nothing wrong with either of those approaches. If you're newer to the game, taking advantage of some of these guides, like for example the cavalry guide, you may just get out there and just try to do exactly what the guide said with your cavalry, and you may do really well. And that's a really good way to learn the game. And then you may have players who are very experienced with the game, and they may see some of the stuff mentioned in some of these guides as generalizing a little bit too much. And to some extent that's true, but really that's just a limitation of the guide format itself. Because really to go into a great amount of detail about everything you could possibly do with cavalry would require much more than a few pages of discussion, and that's what the forum discussions are for. So rather than go into any detail about each of the guides that we went over this week, I'll just leave that to you guys to go through and read, because they're supposed to serve as a starting point for discussion. Once you're reading the guide, there is a way to discuss the content itself. At the bottom of the page, you see a link for leave a comment. That will direct you to the discussion regarding that guide or tip of the week or Gamecast or what have you. And that's really what we seek to do. We want you guys to get involved, because we have on our staff some pretty decent players, and we have a lot of guys that just really want to enhance the Total War experience for all of you guys. Now, the way that we do that is just to get you guys working, to just discuss, have fun, and get out there and play and come back and just kind of discuss the things that you found out, the things that you tried and didn't work. Maybe you tried to do something in one of the guides and it didn't work out the way that you thought it would. It's all sort of the point. So, to sum up what happened this week, we added a little bit of functionality in archiving the tips of the week and the strategy guides and buttons along the right side there once you have the portal open, and added a tip of the week and a few guides. And also we had my Gamecast. Now, between each of these, you start to get a sense of just what it is that the Empire Total War portal is gonna be offering you as time goes on, and we hope you enjoy reading the guides, listening to the shoutcasts and video casts, and taking part in the discussions, because at the end of the day, that's really what we're all about. The site GameReplays.org tends to draw a certain crowd that's different than the crowd you would see at the official forums or that you would see at other various community hubs. And the crowd that it is that we draw tends to be a little bit more competitive, tends to be a little bit more involved in just playing better and getting to know the game a little bit better. And so that's why it's really important that you guys get involved in the discussions. I myself came to Game Replays in search of Company of Heroes help, and it helped me out a great deal. When I first came to the site, I was not doing too well, and over a matter of just a few months, I started climbing up the ranking ladder pretty quickly, and that's just a testament to what the site offers. When you have a group of people like we have here at Game Replays, with all of you guys as the members and the staff here, trying to give you guys what we can in the form of guides and shoutcasts and all the rest of that, you get the potential for a lot of really great discussion. And once you have a lot of really good discussion happening, you start to learn a lot more about the game and its limitations and its potential, and how to take advantage of all those kinds of things. So really enjoy. So that's it for me for this week. It's been another Royal Report from GameReplays.org. Thanks for tuning in.